priority. Do XL even prioritize now, given how well Yasuo was played by Tolkien last game? And do Sensei even think about picking up? Because honestly, they have to be afraid of that Yasuo.
Yeah, they certainly do. And we'll see what things are going to be changed up to in this second time round of the Champion Select. We'll see what the pick is going to be. Obviously, I don't know if the Lucian was actually locked in. I don't think it was, but I'd assume it will be anyway, regardless of whether it was last time. Tahm Kench being hovered, though, by Zandia.
That's an interesting one, because Tahm Kench in last week's broadcast was highly prioritised, and the week before that, even more so. So we'd seen a lot of Tahm Kench become almost flavour of the month, per se, for UK esports, especially lots of bans coming through to take it off the table. We saw Prosfair play a lot of Tahm Kench in his games. We saw Nutri play some Tahm Kench in his games as well during this season. And it looks like it's going to get locked in here for Orcs. So it's going to be Tahm Kench and Lucian, which is great, because obviously if you have the concussive blows stacking up, just swallow your AD carry and you save them from being harmed. And obviously we know Tahm Kench naturally is very hard to take out, because he's just naturally a tanky champion.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, I think Tahm Kench is fairly well known for just being such an annoying champion to play against. So obnoxious in the lane, and even towards the late game as well. Just very, very difficult and annoying to deal with. But I'm curious to see what the rest of the bot lane is going to be here for the side of Sensei. They're currently hovering Kaelin. Obviously, they've got the Braum already, so that's fantastic for them. Ezreal is open. That's what we saw them go with last game, but it didn't really feel like they could have that same effect with it.
No, absolutely. I feel like Ezreal is one of these particular champions that really relies on landing most of his damage before the teamfight even breaks out. Once you get into a teamfight situation, unless Ezreal is isolating someone, he generally feels quite lackluster. What Ezreal is so good at doing is making instantaneous picks against very key targets because of his high mobility and high damage output. You land a Mystic Shot and an Arcane Shift and basic attacks onto their AD carry. Before the fight starts, their AD carry's gone. He does fall off, though, when it comes to full-on teamfight potential, except for if he goes the Iceborne Gauntlet way, where he gets a lot of control, but the damage does drop down a little bit. But it is going to be Caitlyn here, so Caitlyn gracing the field.
Personal favourite champion, actually.
Personal favourite, really? What about Caitlyn makes her your favourite champion?
It was one of the first champions I played, I think. It's just the long range. I really like that safe play style, and just the fact that you can
sniper style.
Head towards... well, yeah, I play snipers in just about every game, actually, now I think about it, but you could just head towards the tower and just drop a million traps and just like, come on then, stop me sieging. What are you going to do about it? The second they step on the trap, you immediately just auto, net, Q, auto, and they're just like pretty much dead.
I feel like, I know you are an AD carry main, aren't you? Or most part an AD carry main. I'm also in, well, I was an AD carry main, now I'm a support main. Who do you think my favourite champion is? I feel like I've told you before. You
probably have told me before. I can't remember though, to be quite honest, mate.
It's also an AD carry.
It's also an AD carry.
It's the champion I spammed to get Diamond for the first time, and when she was released, she was broken.
Is it... What, it's a support and an AD carry?
No, it's an AD carry, and I said as well, so I've given you a big clue.
Is it Jinx?
It's Jinx, mate. Yeah, Jinx was my favourite. I loved her intro video as well. Yeah. And do you know what Sona's favourite support
Thresh.
is? Yeah, there you go. Everyone says Sona because of his name, but it's not. It's actually Thresh.
I've played quite a lot with Sona, with him kind of boosting me, so I know his Thresh awfully well.
I want to give a big shout out to GeoBear. Thanks for boosting me. the real GeoBob.
It's GeoBob now, yeah, not GeoBear. GeoBear is distant history. His name's not GeoBear for a long time.
He's still really good, you know. He's still in Challenger, actually.
Yeah, I know that, but I mean, like, his username stopped being GeoBear a long time ago.
We've actually just reminiscing about favourite champions and GeoBears. And
it's okay, because we're going to get another try at the Champion Select. So obviously there was a placeholder, has to be restarted.
Hey chat, what's this composition about? You can tell us better than we can probably tell you.
We want to know what you think of this composition using the hashtag ESL Prem. Get in touch with us on Twitter, or just use the Twitch chat that is over on that side of the screen. So go do that right now. But yeah, we've actually got a Yorick locked in. First time we're seeing the new Yorick.
So, and there's a Kennen in response from Tolkien. So Yorick gets locked in, I imagine, just to provide that ability to go toe-to-toe with Yasuo. Yasuo cannot do very well against Yorick, especially once Iceborne Gauntlet comes through. Yorick hits like a truck with his Q. So he probably picked that in anticipation. Tolkien goes for Kennen, which will punish Yorick heavily. The only difference is if Yorick does manage to land his slows and get his barrier thing. Can't remember what it's called, the W. If he gets his W down, that will kind of put Kennen stopping his tracks. But for the most part, Yorick gets punished heavily by range. He doesn't do very well against Gnar, for instance, and sure as hell isn't going to do very well against Kennen. So again, this is another lane matchup that Tolkien should be able to split push for, and will have an impact in a teamfight situation. But XL again bringing the party with Zandia picking up Zed.
Yeah, this is going to be, once again, I mean, you're absolutely right in saying that this similar kind of composition in that they're all very squishy, very high risk, high reward. But this time, I feel like if you're locking in a Zed, you're going to be so much more aggressive than what we've seen. You can't, I mean, it fulfills the split push role that we've been talking about this entire series. You've got Kennen going in one lane, you've got Zed going in another, and then the other three just stick around in the mid lane, just keep on pushing. If
Zandia gets rolling, what I imagine will happen is Zandia will move to that split push role. Kennen will probably be more willing to come down and provide disengage, because although Slicing Maelstrom is great for a teamfight control and engage, it's also a fantastic disengage tool. You just proc it, you sit in front of your team and allow them to negotiate their way out while stunning the encroaching enemy. So I like this Kennen pick because it provides that disengage that they might need if Zed does get into a split push role. Now obviously Zed's going to have an issue against Syndra because for the most part, most mid laners will instantaneously pick up Exhaust against the Zed. There is almost no question, and I'm pretty sure Zandia has the idea that he's going to be going into an Exhaust. So going to have to play the lane quite sneakily, do a lot more damage with shurikens than the all-in, and then try and go for the all-in that will be able to get through even despite the Exhaust.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see what they're going to be able to do against Zandia's Zed, and actually running Ignite in the mid lane as well,
Sure.
Which, to be honest, Ignite is a summoner that a long time ago we used to see literally every game on so many different roles.
Absolutely.
Now we rarely see it, to be quite honest. You do occasionally see it in the mid lane, but realistically, not that many players go aggressive enough to really warrant Ignite anymore.
There's just better defensive options these days. Ignite kind of gets cut in its tracks by multiple other things, especially with the changes to heal. A lot of Ignite kind of fell off. So I guess we should talk a little bit about the compositions, Munchables. We've talked a lot about our favourite champions already. Let's touch on the XL composition. It's Kennen, Elise, Zed, Lucian, and Tahm Kench. Now, again, it fulfills a similar role, like you said, to their last game composition. They're really going to be having someone split push, be that Tolkien, be that Zandia. Safer to be Tolkien because he's got the teleport, but Zandia, if he gets rolling and no one can 1v1 him, he's very good at making almost risk-free turret dives with his ultimate, so expect potentially to see Zandia move into a split push, but they're going to try and win it through that way again. Early pressure, they've got lots of CC coming out from Scudzy. I think Tolkien will be a key target for them because, again, Yorick is one of those champions. You burn his flash, he becomes an instantaneous target for ganks. And again, it will have a similar play out for XL in the kind of win lane, put pressure on turrets, win game through a split push Baron take. That generally, I think, will be the accepted game plan here for XL. Yeah,
I wouldn't be too surprised to see that be the case, but over on Sensei, it's going to be an interesting one for them. They've definitely, I mean, we've been talking about how these teams have been struggling when it comes to sieging. When you've got a Caitlyn on the lineup, siege is definitely not going to be something that becomes an issue. And with Syndra as well, the zone control that offers, they are going to be able to layer on the pressure. However, that requires them to be in the lead in the first place.
Now, actually, this is somewhere where I favour Sensei. Yorick can only perform one role. He can only split push. Yorick is almost useless in every other situation, if I'm completely honest. I hate to say it, but his ultimate and his ghouls are very hard to control. They're far better in a 1v1 scenario than they are in any other scenario. And I fully expect Yorick to be in a split push continuously. That's why the 4-man siege from Sensei is pretty good. And they have the wave clear of Syndra. The worry I have for XL is there is no wave clear. Almost no wave clear. You have to hit perfect shurikens across everything, and even those, that's committing a lot of your resources that could be committed to killing somebody. And Kennen really doesn't have great wave clear himself either. There's literally next to no wave clear here for XL, apart from the small parts I mentioned in Lucian. But all of those are quite high risk wave clears to take on board.
Yeah.
So you have a good siege in a 4v4 coming out from Sensei, and you have good disengage should Kennen have a flank. Cask is perfect against Kennen in almost every situation. So you'd think that if XL don't take this game by the scruff of the neck and run away with it, they just end up losing because they can't defend against the siege from Sensei. The disengage from Tyron will be so good on the Gragas again, and eventually split push Yorick becomes such a nuisance that you know, you're going to have to send Kennen up there almost continuously to deal with him. I wouldn't even imagine Zandia accepts going into a 1v1 versus Yorick unless he's majorly far ahead, because Yorick will just take that shovel and smash that ninja into the ground, because that's what Yorick does. He's a 1v1 god. So it's a really difficult situation. I think XL again have to really rely on Scudzy to propel their chances forwards here.
Well, absolutely. We'll find out if that is going to be the case as we head onto Summoner's Rift for the third time here tonight in the ESL UK Premiership. It is Sensei versus XL. XL going to be on this blue side once again, and Sensei going to be heading over toward the red side this time around, and we'll see who is going to be able to take the cake on this one. It's one apiece, tied here to see who will be moving into our winners bracket and who will be getting knocked down into that lower bracket. Obviously, whoever wins the game tonight will actually be playing for a second time later on this evening.
So, in grand total, by the way, everybody, the stream and this series have been running for 3 hours scheduled time. So this series has really been slugging it out. I know we had the issues with Twitch, but this has really been a long best of 3, a hard-fought battle between these two teams. Testament to how close they actually are, despite what the popular vote was. XL have got a lot to prove this game. You know, they came in as the favourites. They don't want to be going down to that loser bracket. Either way, both teams will have to go out of this long, intense, grueling series and go into another best of 3 versus M&M.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, at this point in the day, maybe you favour just...
You just favour because of the longevity that's they've had to put themselves through.
Yeah, I think if you end up going against M&M, it's going to be a difficult one when you're already fatigued off a very long series. But obviously you will be pushed a further step in that lower bracket as well, even if you do lose later on. So definitely one that they're going to be wanting to win out on this one.
I'm sure Batman McGinns will be, you know, watching this series with glued eyes. XL have got such a off-meta strategy for the most part. They're one of the only teams that I've seen really stray quite far away from a traditional meta comp, in all honesty. But they seem to make it work. They definitely made it work last game with that Yasuo top, even though that's not completely off meta. It's not exactly 100% meta either. And already Orcs taking a lot of damage here. This is a lane that Lucy and Time Kents just can't win. They will just get beaten out by the range advantage. They will just get beaten out by the utility that Braum provides, the Caitlyn as well. So again, it's another lane that Jokerism's used to, just literally trying to farm his way out of it.
Absolutely, and to be honest, as a long-time Sivir player, that's a strategy he is very in touch with, I think it's fair to say. But so far, nothing going to be too crazy coming out. The junglers just finishing off their jungle routes, and to be honest, at just about exactly the same pace at this stage. So I'm interested to see what they actually go on to do next following these clears.
Tyrion just a little bit quicker, but because of the red buff being taken earlier, he will have slightly less HP. But it is Gragas, he'll be able to sustain that up quite nicely. And Scudzy, he doesn't see Tyrion. Tyrion now shows his face.
Here we go, though. They're going for the 2 versus 2. Brixton just immediately uses the Scatter the Weak, though. Doesn't actually want to go for this one, but Tyrion does. Gets the knock-up, dodges the Cocoon, and that's a pretty decent trade going the way of Sensei. But to be honest, fairly even overall.
Just waiting for those shurikens to come out for Zandia right now. Slightly having to use all of his sustain in lane, but coming out a little bit on top. But Grissom, look at Grissom go!
Yeah, he's coming on in. Zandia's in trouble. Needs to use this flash in this situation, or he will end up going down. There's the flash following from Grissom. The stun comes through, and Brixton finds himself first blood here on the Syndra.
Look at that Grissom roam early on. What a play coming out from him. The utility of Braum having a major impact. Zandia really needed to flash earlier, but because he'd used his shadow to try and harass a little bit earlier in the lane, he actually had no other escape mechanisms and was really kind of like a duck dead in the water. So Zandia already starting to struggle versus Brixton. As you would imagine, this lane matchup is not forgiving pre-6. It's a half CS disadvantage now, a 10 overall lead to Brixton, and Zandia will not be happy with that. They did give over Syndra for the first time to Brixton. Maybe this is something that's been a mistake for them.
Yeah, to be honest as well, down in this bottom lane, not a good situation for Inax. Even though he's on this Caitlyn, when it came to the 1v1, Jokerism was able to really shove him away from the minion wave, and he's ended up quite far down on minions. Obviously, there is a big wave here for him to catch up if he can land his CS well. but certainly not a good situation when you are losing out that kind of 1v1 duel.
Yeah, and he's going to have to think about going Hex Drinker, I would imagine. I personally would like to see him pick that up, especially going up against Tyron in the jungle. There's going to be a lot of magic damage coming your way, so I would love to see Zandia pick up Hex Drinker. I think it will give him a slight edge when it comes to trading with Brixton. But he's managed to catch up on CS here, even though Brixton's got a wave pushing towards him.
Yeah, absolutely. Brixton is going to be able to mop up those minions, and he'll be very happy to do so. And this is one of the things when you're playing Zed early on against a ranged mid laner. It's so hard to land those CS without it just being the shuriken as the only method to the madness. Zandia again being very aggressive with these shadows, and Tyron, he looks like he wants to capitalize on that fact if he can get away with it. Brixton actually missing out on a couple of those CS, unfortunately. Tyron looking for his way into the lane, but he's not going to be able to find it.
He's just really, really good at putting early vision control down here. Just mapping the movements. What this has done, these early deep wards, and especially with the control they've got over either side of the river brush, is that they're putting a lot of defense in terms of vision here for Brixton, which was the key to XL actually getting the lead early enough to win last game. And actually, I really love that. Brixton is almost in a safe haven right now for ganks coming from Scudsy. And look at them again. Tyron is going to be mirroring Scudsy's move up towards this top lane.
Well, here we go. Slicing Maelstrom comes on through. And that's going to be just about the entire fight. Both flashes used. But Tolkien can't quite lock up his opponent.
Zandia receiving punishment under turret. He goes in at level 6.
Brixton's got no mana. Does have to flash away from this one, but the Death Mark will not be enough. Zandia, I don't think he can finish this kill off. Goes for the shadow, but the shuriken isn't available. And we can see Scudsy wanted to go for that, but he doesn't find an opportunity.
Yeah, they knew Scudsy was going for it, because look again at how much vision is in that river area right now for Sensei. Top lane covered. River Scuttler there. Good pink ward in the brush. 2 deep wards in the blue side jungle as well. And actually, Scudsy's going to walk straight past the pink ward that has just been pinged out for him, but he doesn't feel safe enough to go for it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think rightly so as well. He doesn't know for sure that Brixton went back to base at that point. He doesn't know where Tyron is, so does need to just be a little bit cautious, and they know that that's something that they can look for later. They know where it is now, so it's always something that they can go back to. I
just want to highlight there is a CS advantage for Jokerism.
Yeah. Yeah, this is what I was saying earlier. You know, he managed to push him. He managed to push Inax under tower when Grissom went for that roam early on, and ever since, Inax just hasn't been able to get back in terms of CS numbers.
Absolutely, and Jokerism will be happy to have that pressure kind of release from him. And look at XL using this opportunity, pushing Sensei to the lane, into the tower. They're going to go straight for Dragon here. I don't know if there's anything Sensei can do about it. So this is a really interesting thing that I'd like to point out. A lot of people should be aware of it. A good time to take Dragon is either when the opposing bot lane is just backed, you should be able to get it for free, or just pushing them to turret, where they have to make the decision between giving up all of those minions or trying to contest the dragon. And that's exactly what XL did there. They said, okay, we've pushed them to turret. They're either going to have to clear that entire wave and come and contest dragon afterwards, which will be too late, or come and contest dragon and lose that entire wave. Either scenario is good for us, as Tolkien brings the wrath of the ghouls down. Now, that ghoul does not die until it is killed, by the way, so Tolkien will have to be careful with that.
Yeah, I think he's going to be quite happy to be a little bit aggressive, though, and just try and finish that one off. Obviously, Tolkien still has that Slicing Maelstrom, so he doesn't have to be too scared, since Averil is obviously tried to commit to this one, but doesn't really want to go too deep, and that is going to be 50 gold as well in the pocket of Tolkien.
Hey, 50 gold, boys. Can buy a mansion for that.
Not quite. I think your view of the economic situation in Great Britain right now is a little bit skewed.
I don't know, mate. Depends what you call a mansion.
To be fair, though, a gold coin is actually a very valuable commodity.
How much do you reckon a gold coin weighs in terms of League of Legends to like a gold bullion or whatever, the sovereign? You know, let's take a full sovereign as a...
who knows, but we actually have a fight going on right now because Tolkien is teleported in. That is going to be Slicing Maelstrom, locking up Greason. And that is going to be Orcs grabbing himself a kill. Doesn't quite land the tongue lash, though. And now Tolkien actually looking for more. Gets the stun onto his opponent, and there goes Zandia. Jumps into the fray and just completely one-shots Inax. 5 members pushing onto this tower. They will be able to take down the first tower of the game here in the bottom lane. In the meantime, Brixton and Tyron are trying to push in this mid lane. They should be able to trade this one back.
They're just going to race for a tier 2 because the mid lane aren't reacting. They're going to go straight in here, and it's going to be up to Inax and Grissom to try and defend this tier 2, and they're not going to be able to do it.
No, I don't think they are. They're going to try, though, get on in there, but I don't think there's any way they can. That is a tier 2 going down. It's traded for the mid lane tower, but Averil is nowhere near finishing off this top lane tower just yet. And this is bad news for the side of Sensei.
What a good tower dive from XL. They let it a little bit later if they had their ultimates to go for a bot lane tower dive. And with Tahm Kench, it provides that extra layer of security for the person who tanks the turret initially. I think this top lane turret might go down here. That's why you're seeing the lane swap come out from Jokerism and Orcs. They want to be able to push the lane as a duo. So you could see the top lane tower going down. And even just defending or at least stopping the minion waves or any champions coming up to that turret will mean that it's going to be a 2-tower trade for 2-tower trades to even up the gold, exactly equal here between XL and Sensei.
Well, on the upside for Sensei, the AD carries are even. Once again, that lead has been depleted from Jokerism. So obviously, Inact is going back to base right now, though, so it will build up slightly once again. And in the meantime, Brixton has managed to survive the lane phase and build up himself a lead in that mid lane over Zandia.
Looks like Vision Defense is the name of the game here for Brixton, as he defends those pink wards valiantly. He really doesn't want to lose that one that's been there for the major portion of the game. But this brings me back nicely, but not at all, because it's not really a link to how much do you think a gold coin is worth in real life?
Well, it's done on weight, right?
So,
because it says, like on a £5 note, it says the Bank of England promises to pay you £5
worth
on presentation of this voucher. So it's basically like a coupon for gold. That's how money works.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm asking is one singular gold coin. So how, you have to value the items in League of Legends, right? What do you value, say, Hextech Proto belt that the Kennon's gone? If you had a belt that could teleport you forward and shoot out lightning bolts, what would you value that in English pounds?
Many pounds. So probably thousands. Thousands and thousands. So probably like 10,000 pounds.
So what's the actual combined cost of the Hextech Proto belt? Somewhere like 3,000?
Yeah, 2,500, 3,000, something like that. Averil's in trouble though. Stun coming on through. Actually doesn't actually finish off the stun. Tolkien hasn't been able to do that just yet. And he is taking so much damage from these scores. He's actually in trouble right here. If Averil can go back in, it's going to be so difficult to re-engage on a cannon. But in the meantime, Zandia goes full ham onto Brixton. And that will be a kill going their way.
Oh, that's... Hex Drinker coming in useful, like I thought it would be the best option for him to go for, but because that was a Tahm Kench roam, this is going to allow Inax and Grissom to push up, which nicely segues me back to 3,000 gold for a proto belt. So let's say in real life money, would you pay like 50,000 for that?
50,000? I don't have 50,000.
Okay, but if we forced you to make an evaluation for a belt that could teleport you, what would you pay for it?
I reckon it's approximately £20,000.
Okay, £20,000. So let's say it's 3,000 gold. One gold coin would be roughly worth £6.
This is why you don't try and do maths on
£6, right? So it'd be one gold coin is roughly £6.6. So that's about one gold coin being a fiver. That's not a very valuable gold coin. That must be tiny.
I don't know.
Because a half sovereign, which is about this big, Munchables, just so you can see.
I have no idea how big gold coins are.
A half sovereign's roughly about 50 quid, I think. So it's got to be like a tenth of the size of that. Okay, so we have figured out by natural deduction that League of Legends coins are basically worthless.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I mean, it is like this is basically politics that we're watching right now. This arena was designed so that all the different regions in Runeterra could resolve all of their worldly issues on the battlefield of the Fields of Justice, rather than
they're kind of promoting like assassination, though. You know, you can have gold for killing someone.
No, but it's like virtual gold, right?
Yeah, but is it virtual gold to them, Munchables?
It
could be real
kind
gold.
of, but not really. But here we go. Orcs has to
wow, what a flash!
Immediately, not a single moment of hesitation.
I think essentially he knew that there was going to be no support from his team, so if he was caught there, he was dead. But this is just given Sensei the time to clear out some vision, which is pretty important. I've got to say, though, I've been impressed with XL's response to vision control this game. It definitely hasn't been as strong from Sensei, and XL have definitely been stamping their mark down. Looks like Dragon will be the next point of contention. And actually they're going to try and catch out Inax.
Grissom with the nice stand behind me, though, jumps in front of his AD carry and will protect them. But here comes Zandy. It does get exhausted, though, and I don't think the death mark will be enough to finish off Inax, who will walk away with his life. And to be honest, the Caitlyn pick really plays into this style that they've been going for, where it's like, if we get to the late game, we win.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I genuinely don't think Yorick's going to have an impact in a team fight, though, and it really depends whether Tolkien can 1v1 him. As the game progresses, I think Tolkien's going to have less and less chance. Brixton now the target. Can he escape the mighty wrath of the Tahm Kench?
Well, the Tong is going to hit him, and Scudzy comes on in as well, so I think he might just be going down on this one. Zhonya's does come out. Scudzy will be able to get to safety, though. And here comes Tyron. Gets a nice little knock-up, trying to body block the Tongue Lash as well. I don't think they're going to be able to finish it in the end. Brixton walks away on just a sliver of HP. What a nice little play from Tyron. Multiple times across this series, we've seen Tyron come to the rescue of his teammates. And so effectively every time.
Puts his body on the line, Munchables. And, you know, it's all about the team for Tyron.
What was that?
I don't know, dude. I
thought you were like quoting something.
There was no quote there. You know, maybe it's a quote from that film Bodyguard that I've never actually watched and probably should.
Well, I was about to start singing Bodyguard, but nobody wants that.
Can you sing it for me?
No, mate.
Oh, really?
No, mate.
Could you give me the lyrics so I could potentially sing it?
I.
We'll always
love you. That's Bodyguard.
And Munch, I will always love you. Munchables.
No more. But regardless of whether or not Dan's Scoundrel will always love me.
What face in chat, please?
Yeah. All of your what faces. Here we go. Tower is under siege, but Averil is on the scene as well as Grissom, so they will be able to protect this for now. And the Mega Ghoul charging forward does a significant amount of damage. You do have to be careful about those, but also very easy to just be dealt with if you can focus down that target.
Yeah, no, totally agree. The thing about Yorick is, especially his when you pop his ultimate, he actually pushes waves at the speed of light, and you can't really duel him 1v1 because the maximum damage he does when both you and his ghoul are attacking the same target is insane. And you saw actually, especially for Kennen, who's someone who's naturally squishy, the damage that the ghoul does by itself is absolutely out of this world. Brixton now the target.
Yeah, Brixton is in trouble. The Deathmark will definitely be enough to finish him off. Zandia finds himself a solo kill there. Now Tolkien might just be the target, but Jokerism is going to be there to help out his teammate. Look at the line of traps. This is what I was talking about before, Caitlyn. When you can set those up, it's so difficult as the aggressive team to push onto that, and you can do that when you're on the siege as well. But 4 members right now up in this top lane for the likes of Sensei, and that means that this mid lane tower is in all kinds of trouble.
Yeah, and XL really trying to take Sensei apart, Brixton by Brixton.
Yeah. You could say that they're really going Hamilton on this one. Well,
what's going on with our life today?
I don't know, mate. I do not know. I'm definitely falling ill, though. But we had a solo kill in the top lane. Tolkien should not be able to get away with that. That should not be happening at this stage in the game.
Especially with almost 0 magic penetration as well against a Yorick with a Trinity Force. Just feel like that probably shouldn't have happened. I think it might have been because his ultimate was off cooldown. That gives Kennen a good opportunity to try and fight. The issue that Tolkien was having was every time he was going in using that slicing maelstrom, the Yorick ghoul was popped and he suddenly couldn't sustain against the damage that it was putting out single-handedly onto him. He's going to have to back off here because of that rotation. And actually XL aren't in a position to punish this double bot lane coming up to the top lane. They haven't got any real other turrets to contest at this point in time rather than tier 2 in that mid lane, and they have nothing in the bot lane either. I'd like to see Kennen or Tolkien transition to the bot lane potentially and start to put pressure there and then allow the bot lane to then go back to the top lane and start to take that first turret.
Uh-oh, Inax could be in trouble here. The traps are going to save him for a bit, but the Living Shadow means that Zed can happily jump on him. Deathmark is more than enough. And with Tahm Kench on your side, you're never going to be afraid of those turrets. That will be enough pressure to, I was going to say take the top lane tower. They're actually just going to back away. It's incredibly low, but they don't want to continue to fight.
I think they want Rift Herald because you know how impactful that was for Tolkien last game and his ability to take towers very readily with the Baron buff. They've only got 30 seconds to get this down, by the way. It could be moderately close. But I think that's going to be super important to either Zandia or Tolkien. And given the fact that Zandia is here, I imagine Zandia will pick this Rift Herald buff up.
Yeah, Zandia is going to be able to grab that one for himself, so extra little bit of siege potential coming out from them. And to be honest, this is definitely one of the more one-sided games we've seen between these two teams, and it definitely feels like ESL, they're the ones in control right now. They're the ones that are deciding what goes on where. And I mean, just look at Zandia, 4-1-0 right now.
What do you think about the decision for Triforce over Iceborne Gauntlet here for the Yorick? Definitely gives him a little bit more damage, but honestly, if I'm being completely brutal with you, I think his chances in a team fight, or rather in a 1v1 versus the Kennen with the Iceborne, would have been slightly better. You know, you slow that guy down. When you get onto him, and if you land at least one of your Qs, you're going to put him in a position where it's very hard for him to respond, because he obviously just gets slowed immensely. Looks like Zandia is actually going to back out here. Maybe head to the bot lane. That might be the point of call, because I think he could 1v1, but at this point with the black...
He can 1v1 anyone.
Yeah, with the Black Cleaver. Only with the Black Cleaver and Ghostblade, though, because Yorick, he hasn't built any armor specifically, and this is why I think Iceborne Gauntlet might have been better, because now having the Triforce actually opens him up to get 1v1 by Zandia. If he'd gone Iceborne, I actually would have given that 1v1 trade to Yorick every single time.
Yeah, but the thing is about when you're fighting a Zed is obviously he doesn't have any armor, and you say you would give that 1v1 trade over to the Yorick, but it's not a trade, is it? Zed just goes in, blasts your health bar, and he's gone again already. You don't even get an opportunity to fight back. Let's
call this, okay, let's talk about it as like a full-on trade, as if he goes all in onto the Yorick. If Yorick's got, say, Iceborne Gauntlet, Ninja Tabais maybe below some more on top of that, he actually has a good chance to do well against the Zed, provided Zed isn't accelerated beyond belief, which actually Zandia is getting to the point where he is. Going the Triforce just makes you much weaker to getting 1v1, to getting taken down in the side lanes. This is why I think Kennen's having a better time. It makes you more effective in a straight-up melee match, but that's just not going to happen for Avril.
Well, speaking of Avril, he might be in trouble here. Does have to flash away straight away from that one. So another summoner burnt by ESL here just by purely good positioning, making sure to punish their opponent's Jokerism. Pushing very aggressively. Avril will be able to get away with his recall. Actually, no, he won't. Scudsy's arrived on the scene. Doesn't spot him, though. And will be able to get away with his life. And in the meantime, Inax just about survives as Tolkien goes on forward. Tolkien. He doesn't survive. Both carries go down. Tolkien on the scene, making the story happen. Here comes Scudsy as well. He's going to be looking for a stun, but the minion wave arrived at the worst possible moment for him. He's going to be able to finish off Tyrant. No, he walks underneath the tower, and Scudsy now tanking that tower up. Orcs has to take a bit of damage as well, and Avril has arrived. Jokerism hasn't been part of this fight at all, and he finally arrives looking for Grissom, but misses the culling, and now he's trapped. Avril looking to finish him off, and that's the power of the Triforce. Look at him chunk that health bar. All in all, though, 2 for 1 in favour of ESL.
I actually don't know how Zandia died. He must have gone in onto Inax, trying to pick off a kill, and got beaten down by the exhaust there. The timing of the exhaust on Grissom would tell me that was exactly what had happened. But the 2 kills mean that ESL are able to capitalise with yet another Drake. They're at 5k gold ahead right now. And Baron on the cards. That will be their win condition. The question is, who takes up that split push role? Given that Rift Herald sits on Zandia, you would expect him at this point to do it. And also the fact that Yorick is still going down that magic resistance route it means that Avril maybe hasn't twigged that Zandia probably is going to take up the heavier split pushing than the Kennen. Kennen has built for a team fight with the Zhonyas, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And Avril is in trouble right now. Deathmark goes down. And look at this. Zandia just walks away. Doesn't look back. Cool guys don't look at explosions. And he's going to be able to grab himself up. The 5th kill of the game for himself. And he is just wrecking right now. Take a look at the gold. He's only 1,500 ahead of Brixton, though, somehow.
40 CS will do that to you, I think. It's just because he's been so busy trying to make plays across the map. Brixton's just been able to farm consistently. But we've got another little fight here. Zandia without his ultimate.
Yeah, Grissom pretty much able to fully disengage that one, though, with the unbreakable stun. Goes on to Orcs, and actually, they can follow this one up. There he goes. Brixton finds himself a kill. Zandia trying to jump back on in. Here's the culling going on through. Orcs goes down. And they might just... Oh, Grissom, sorry, went down.
Inax, what are you doing,
trying to hold on, but Jokerism found himself a double kill. Did get dropped for it. There goes Scudsy, as well as Brixton finds himself yet another kill. Is 3 for 2 overall, though.
Jokerism? you've got to be having a joke, right, mate? Because honestly, your frontline Lucian tanking has not been top quality so far. But I understand what he was doing. He's trying to land those final basic attacks to try and pick up a kill and get out quickly. But play a little bit more reserved, my friend, and you might find you'll have a little bit more success. But I'll be honest, XL are making the kind of correct style of plays. You know, they're going in, putting pressure. They're trying to put pressure consistently on turrets. The issue is they're trying to fight in the lane that Zandia's split pushing in, which just doesn't make much sense to me. I guess the way that I would play this now, given that they want to keep Tolkien in the side lane, is go for a 1-3-1. You put pressure on every lane. I don't know, they have to commit wave clear to one of them because there isn't really wave clear in any other lanes. And Kennen should be able to do okay versus the Yorick. At least hold him off or apply pressure to a turret regardless. I almost think that Zandia and Kennen should swap though because of the way that Yorick is built. You know, he's gone full magic resist at this point in time. That's going to make him better versus Tolkien.
Oh, here he goes. Nice little belt jump coming on out of him.
Jump.
Nice little belt jump is going to get him to safety. And Avril, to be honest, that could have been really bad for Tolkien if that had actually locked him up.
Absolutely. Look at the ultimate from Yorick, just really just deciding to chase Tolkien down the lane, but will eventually go down. Huge wave pushed into Tolkien's tower, though. That's kind of what Yorick can do in an instant. His ghouls just ravage those lanes. And it's going to require Tolkien to push up steadily but firmly once again, and that'll take a while to build up. Genuinely think he should swap with Zandia at this point. Zandia probably has a huge 1v1 outplay potential versus Avril, so I think by keeping Avril in the top lane, you're either hoping that Brixton comes in to try and defend, but Brixton's got Zhonya's and Exhaust now, so that's not a great matchup for Zandia anyway. I think swapping them around would be key. For me, anyway, Munchables.
Yeah, so far, though, kind of sending Zandia up to this top lane. He is all alone. But Joker isn't currently doing the red buff, so they're not going to have much global pressure. Anyway, Zandia might just go in on this one. Brixton is low on HP, but with Tyra in there, I think the wiser decision was made by Zandia there not to go too ham. Oh, in the meantime, though, Averil's actually in trouble in this bottom lane. Slicing Maelstrom is going to mean he gets stunned up. There's the Devour as well. But Avril, he's trying to run away with this one, gets the slow, but will get shut down in the end. Tolkien throws that shuriken and finishes him off. Tyrant here gets the slow onto Zandia. 3 of them are up here. They want to go for it. You can see that they're desperate to go for it, but they know that they can't because Brixton will just end up going down.
Exactly. They need to put the pressure on. They need to try and make a play happen because of the pressure in mid lane and in bot lane now. And looks like they're trying to go into this bot lane too, but the disengage has been solid from XL so far. Scudsy landing some really key cocoons. Which also leads me to a question that I have to ask you furthermore, Munchables. How ham is 2 ham?
Brixton Hamilton is 2 ham.
Brixton Hamilton is
Brixton Hamil 2.
I mean, like a breaded Wiltshire, is that 2 ham?
That is the perfect amount of ham right there.
Is that the perfect amount of ham? I mean, I'm a big fan of a breaded Wiltshire, to be honest.
Just give me ham, mate. I don't really mind what kind of ham it is. I just love a bit of ham. But that is exactly what XL are bringing to the table on this sunny Sunday afternoon.
I'd love to go for a picnic with XL then. Bring ham to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. Do love a good cheeky picnic with XL.
I could just see Munch's
boys.
face. I can see Munch's face slowly like Kieran why.
Plus number. I can definitely, over the course of this broadcast, I've felt myself slowly but surely sinking into a cold that my colleague was sat with at the desk today.
I'm just gonna make sure I'm staying. Just talk directly away from me.
I'm gonna lean this way.
Yeah, and I will just move myself all the way to the other side of the desk.
Yeah, it's slowly but surely setting in. This is going to be a fun couple of days. I can feel it now.
We've got a big Hearthstone broadcast tomorrow as well.
I know, mate. Can't wait.
And they usually go the full 5 hours, my friend.
I'm ready. My body is ready. But here we go. Scudsy going to be able to try and take this River Scuttler, get control of the Dragon area because it's about to spawn in just 15 seconds time. Jokerism does actually get stunned up there. Will take a little bit of damage, but doesn't actually have any lifesteal just yet, so needs to be a little bit careful, but the red buff will regenerate that HP.
Sure, he looks like he's going for rapid fire cannon, I would assume, off the back of this. Actually, it's going to be the Infernal Drake again. Now this is okay, whoa,
Zandia
Zandia!
In trouble once again, but he survives that explosion, and that is going to be the Dragon going down as well. The Deathmark couldn't finish off its target, and that's a few times now we've seen Zandia not quite able to finish off the job. He actually used Flash for that one as well. But that was Exhaust and Heal used from the side of Sensei. So maybe next time around he'll be able to get something to work.
Absolutely. Look at the bot lane minion wave, though. That's going to require Tolkien to head there. Baron has to be thought about, I would think, by XL soon. They need to use that to at least facilitate Kennen's split push. Kennen's split push is not quick at all by any stretch of the imagination, unless, you know, he's got enough AP to just single-handedly burst these waves out, which I think he does at this point in time. But realistically, adding Baron to the mix will make it far more viable, which is why I think,
here we go.
goodbye.
Inax is in trouble. He doesn't actually... Oh, he does actually die, because the Thunderlords procs at the same time. Zandia so low, but it's going to be Tyron knocking him away with the explosive cask. That is a painful sight, and Zandia once again escapes with his life.
And look at this, Tolkien applying pressure once more. This is why I think the Rift Herald buff might have been slightly better onto Tolkien, because I feel like he could have done more with it, but you know, Zandia hasn't really had the time to put pressure onto turrets. I guess when you give it to Zed, you try and make the most use out of the time that you have with the turrets. And now here comes the Tahm Kench. I'm not sure this is what XL want to do. This is... Anyway.
Well, here we go. Zandia jumping right onto the backline, making sure that this still can't happen. Jokerism will finish off Tyron.
How much
and there goes the Baron.
I got so confused. How much damage did Zandia do to a full health Tyron there?
It was on top of the culling as well, coming out from Jokerism.
But didn't like 3 bullets from the culling hit and then he was dead? Like, that must have been a huge couple of damages from just a shuriken and a few basic attacks.
He's 625, 250 CS at this point. He's got so many items. There's a solo kill in the bottom lane as well, going the way of Tolkien right now. It's going to be XL just running away with things. They're just not allowing anything to go their way.
Again.
Look at the cooldown on the deathmark. It's going to get him every single time. Jokerism walks forward to finish off the support as well, and here goes the top lane tower. That is going to be dropped, as will the inhibitor be. And Tolkien's continuing to push down in this bottom lane. I don't think he even needs to go for the tower. He just needs to come and help his team end the game right now. Explosive cask used just to buy any couple of seconds that they can. Brixton's arrived on the scene, but what can he do? I'm not sure that he's got the damage right now. Exhaust comes on through from Orcs, trying to just lock down that carry from the lineup. Oh, but there we go. Mid laner for mid laner. They're going to be happy with that. Or in fact, it was the jungle that went down. Scudzy dropped, but so did the Nexus tower. Here goes the Nexus. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our winner from this series. XL, after, to be honest, a longer series than I was expecting, managed to take this one 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a long, long series. I mean, it must have taken its toll on the players mentally.